Welcome, folks, to our next episode of Trek Simplified. In today's episode, we will be covering the true badass of the 24th century and beyond Klingon Imperial Fleet and Defense Force. Today we'll be covering the Vor'Cha class attack cruiser. The Vor'Cha class attack cruiser first appeared around 2367, when it was essentially limited to the disposal of the Klingon Chancellor and various other ranking officials, such as the governors of Klingon colonies. The class would eventually take up general duties in the Klingon Defense Force by 2369. At least one Vor'Cha class entered the Gamma Quadrant through the Bajoran wormhole. In the Mirror Universe, additionally, the Klingon Cardassian Alliance used the Vor'Cha class in their fleet. For a time, one even served as the flagship of the Imperial fleet until the Negvar warship was introduced in 2371. Despite the fact that the class was no longer the flagship of the Imperial fleet, they maintained a strong presence during both the Klingon-Cardassian War and the Federation-Klingon War of 2372 to 2373. They were used during the first battle of Deep Space Nine, and later that year, several were used to deploy a minefield around Bajoran space. The class later served as capital ships during the Dominion War, beginning in 2374. They saw action during Operation Return, the first and second Battle of Chintaka, and the final showdown of the conflict, the Battle of Cardassia. During an alternate 26th century, at least one Vor'Cha-class cruiser participated on the side of the Federation against the Sphere Builders in the Battle of Procyon V. As for the technical data on this ship, the Vor'Cha class was one of the more powerful ships that the Klingon Defense Forces. Indeed, for a time, it was also one of the largest warships in the Empire, carrying a formidable armament and demonstrating great maneuverability considering their relatively large size. And how? We'll get more into that in a moment. As for the physical arrangement, this one's actually a little bit different, I think. The outboard plan of the Vor'Cha class design incorporated the same basic design. It's an avian thing. The bridge was separated by the main body by a thin neck, blah, blah, blah. Triangular superstructure was located on the dorsal section of the ship, above the ship's impulse engines. The Vor'Cha class's secondary hull was composed of duranium alloy. As for its tactical systems, the Vor'Cha was heavily armed. Vor'Chas were mounted with a forward disruptor cannon capable of firing solid and intermittent disruptor beams, in addition to torpedoes. The Vor'Chas that were utilized by the Klingon-Cardassian Alliance in the Mirror Universe were additionally armed with nacelle-mounted disruptor cannons. The Vor'Chas were well reputed for having enough firepower to threaten a subterranean base. Despite this reputation, however, the Vor'Cha did not have its limitations heavily fortified. Did not have its limitations heavily against heavily fortified targets. During the Dominion War, when Chancellor Gowron chose to attack Sarpedion 5, he wanted the initial strike to be led by 15 Vor'Cha-class battlecruisers to, as he put it, soften their defenses. However, according to General Martok, 15 battlecruisers would barely scratch their defenses. These vessels, like all Klingon starships of the time, also incorporated cloaking technology, which protected them from detection in most invasive situations. In addition to the weaponry, this thing also had other things it could do offensively and in a military way. Getting into that a little bit, there was internal security. It had amazing sensors, internal security sensors, to detect weapons fire coming from the interior of the vessel. It had a extensive armory located on the upper half of the ship. its engineering section contained not only the reactor core, but also several other significant systems, and it had a computer, aka an electronic warfare suite, an EWS, which it had access to and whatnot. Last but not least, it also had VIP quarters, so if you're going to ride in style. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's about all the information I have on the Vor'Cha class. As for my personal feelings on the Vor'Cha, I haven't seen it as much. I think it looks cool. I think it looks very very futuristic by the standards set down by like the D7 and the Katinga and all of those. The Vor'Cha is definitely a very futuristic and very modern-looking vessel by comparison, and at least for looks, if not in substance, it is far superior. But it is also a ship of substance. Clearly, it is seen many times leading charges in the Dominion War, and it is just an overall great ship. I would have to say, ratings-wise, it probably ties with the Katinga in my book, probably a 4.1 and a 5. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for joining me. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell icon so you never miss an episode. Leave a comment down below telling me what your favorite thing about the Katinga class is, and any stories you may have about the Katinga. I would love to hear it. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for the outro to find out how you can best support my work financially. And until next time, remember as always, good night, good luck, and I'll see you later. Thanks for watching, folks. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell icon so you never miss an episode. Secondly, if stream bucks are plentiful, please consider supporting the channel either by subscribing on Twitch, pledging on Patreon, or by grabbing some merch over at the Shock Shop. The links to all of these will be in the About section and in the description down below. Again, thank you to all of our supporters for all of the likes, shares, and views. I really appreciate it, and without all of you, our work here would not be possible. I'm Michael Shockman, folks. I've been your host and commentator. And remember, keep it real, keep it safe, keep it healthy, and we will see you guys all again soon in the next one. Peace off, everybody.